Well, first and foremost, my name's Corey James. I like to make a lot of house records, progressive house, EDM, etc. And today I'm going to jump in straight away, no messing about, and I'm going to break down my track Don't Stop, which come out on Protocol Records. And I'm also going to break down another track of mine called The Light, where with obviously Sean Walsh, the man himself, on the vocals. So yeah, before anything else, let's just get into it. So yeah, Don't Stop, my track on Protocol. I'm going to break it down for you quite simply here on this project. As you can see, this project is a very big project, but this, as I like to call it, the draft idea. So let's get straight into it, and I'll show you what I do. Obviously, when a project gets too big and messy and stuff, I like to simplify it down and go into stems and audio, and I'm going to show you the process of that today. So first and foremost, I start with a kick in my tracks. So yeah, there's the simple kick. I just go to Kontakt for my kicks, and yeah, I take a flick through some kicks and just find one that I like, you know, to get started. So this one in this case was this, and then there's not even any processing on that. I mean, I add some processing and I took the processing off. So yeah, just a simple kick drum. Then we've got a sub bass. For the sub bass, I just use Logic's own, you know, I think it's just, yeah, it's just literally the sampler from EXS24, and that's just playing these notes. Let me open this. So that's just playing a flat note along with the kick. And then I've got another layer on top of the sub bass from Juno 3. Simple bass preset. And this is playing a kind of weird melody, but it's kind of, you guys can hear it, and along with the sub bass. So yeah, and then yeah, so then I layered this, like whenever I try and start a drop, you know, I always try and get a groove going. So obviously I start with the kick, sub bass, then I layered this bass with like these kind of mid basses here. I don't know if you guys can hear this clear. But yeah, the same pattern as the bass that I added on the sub. See how I like to group these. Let's make sure to drag plugins in the middle, and you can maybe block. Okay, yeah, sure. Sorry, I didn't think about that when I'm streaming. Obviously, you guys can see me, so if I'm dragging plugins, I need to drag them across so you can see. But yeah, so there's quite a lot of processing on these sounds. I was never happy with the low end in this track. For some reason, I just couldn't get it. So like, this is the sub bass on its own with no processing. Then the first thing I done was I added a bass amp, obviously just to boost the bass in the low end. Then I added a bass rider as well. This is from Waves, really cool plugin. Sometimes I just flick through the presets just on basses a lot of the time. Just flick through some presets, sometimes take it off, you know, if I don't like it, but a lot of the time it can add some movement into your basses. I don't really know exactly what this plugin does, but I love using it, you know, I love using it all the time. So you guys should check that out definitely on basses. So yeah, as I go along, I'll show you what it sounds like. So you know, the bass is like a compressor, limiter. Yeah, then I've obviously got some EQ, just boosting a bit of them low ends. And as you can see, this project is so heavy on CPU. The reason I'm going to get to it is I'm going to show you what I do to get around these problems. So, like, I mean, I've got a good computer, good processors, good, you know, the lot, but it's still just can't hack it sometimes with these projects. So I like to get a draft of the drop, an idea of where I'm going with the track, and then I like to bounce stems and work with audio a lot, you see. So yeah, so next up on the bass, this is just the sub bass. I love this Sound Toys Decapitator. Is just, oh, I use it in every track. So like, you know, it really brings them sounds alive. Like, listen to the difference. You know, it just pumps it right through. Then I just done some weird processing here on this cool EQ plugin, Quality. That's from DMG Audio. I love that plugin. Then I don't know why, sometimes I mess around with this just to get some more sub frequencies. It's Logic's own sub enhancer, sub bass enhancer. You know, sometimes just the harmonies, the harmonics in the low end, you can really boost them and stuff. It's cool. And you can go between, you know, the wet and dry. It's quite a cool thing. I just really like to get that sub bass, you know, solid and pumping with the track. And once again, you can see here I'm boosting low ends. So let me read some questions while I'm going along as well. How do you go about adding swing into your bass lines? Well, to be honest, I mean, depending on the track, you know, if the lead or the picks that I'm using have a bit of swing on, I like to, like, you know, chop notes just to try and get them to fit with the swing of the picks and stuff. I never really, I never tend to put swing on basses unless, you know, when I'm listening to the track. I remember there's one track that I'd done, DNA. The bass line, there was so much swing on it just because I wanted the track to like move quite weird. It's, you know, I think it's all about feel. So sometimes if you see like here, I've just literally like left these notes like slightly off sequence, so like they're not quantized fully, you know, to the 16. I like them to just be off slightly. It just gives it a bit of feel. Like if you, it's like dragging, you know, dun, 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 rather than like dun dun. It's just dragging a bit, and I quite like that. So, and I also feel like, as you will see later on when I go to the drums in this track, there's quite a tribally drum in the background, like a loop constantly, and I feel like the bass just really glued well with that. So yeah, once again, all these EQs and you know, these bass harmonic, bass saturation, the distortion, that's all I'm really doing in this low end here. You know, just like our bass from Waves, I use that so much on you know, sub basses, mid basses, like. And the cool thing about this is it's got frequency, so you can really choose where you want to, you know, boost. So like, as you see here, I'm boosting 80 hertz, which is really giving it that low end. So let me see what I am. So do you usually start with more of a mid bass or try and get the lows going first? To be honest, I normally start with the like a mid bass. So for this track, I actually started with this Dune 3 and the kick just like this. That's all I started with in this track, and I just built on top, and obviously, you know, getting the sub bass in nice and early once you've got the groove is always help. It always helps because, you know, the sub bass, as soon as you add that to a kick, you know, you've got that movement there, so, and that energy straight away. So yeah, I mean, once again, just some EQ. Just see, these are really surgical EQs, and that's just me. I'm super picky with frequencies, you know, like especially with the FabFilter EQs, man. I love them so much just because you can really go in with this headphone and, you know, you can really cue the frequency. Like, you can hear the frequency exactly where you want it. You know what I mean? It's amazing, man. I love it. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so there's the sidechain and just EQ again on that sub bass. So once you've got that, that's the kick, solid. Then we've got the mid basses, which is, once again, I just copied the same pattern, you know, of that mid bass, and there's nothing professor here really. It's just layers, you know. It's just a nice bass, simple bass from Prophet Arturia, and on this one I've got the on the side distortion, and yeah, they're just adding a bit of energy on top of that bass. So, oh yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting to move the plugins to the right. Yeah, so yeah, so like as we see here, it's just the on the side, that's the distortion on top of this. We've got the Prophet, And that's just, like I said, it's just copying that melody. Just adds a bit of, just adds something to the track, you know, in the mids and the lows. So like how different is the process. I'm just going to take a quick look through some of these comments while we're going. Show the Pro Q again, sure. One sec. So the Pro Q was on the sub bass, I think it was, no, mid bass. Yeah, down here. Yeah, so as you can see here, I need to get into the habit of moving them across. So yeah, as you can see, it's just really surgical EQs. Like with any of my sounds that I'm working on, whether it's a sub bass, lead, you know, I always solo the headphones on the frequency, just move through any frequencies I don't like. I just dip them out, you know, just try and keep it clean. And yeah, so like so far we've just got the bass, and that was the groove. This was the groove of the track straight off. And then yeah, so building on top of that, now I go through, and like this straight away I just got a lead. And what I like to do as well, like some people call it lazy, but I just like it, you know. I flick through some sounds, I flick through some presets, just flick through Sylenth, you know, these type of plugins, and once I hear something that I like, I tweak it, I play around with it. So for example, in this case, I think it was, yeah. So I tweak everything in these synths, you know, just try and get them to be as unique as possible. Let me move this across just so you can see. So yeah, I try to tweak as much as possible.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
As possible, just to make the sound myself, like, you know, make it sound like me, and like make it how I want it to, you know, especially with the envelopes, shape the sound exactly how I want it. And yeah, I start working on like a lead. So in this case, this was the lead. And as you can hear, the lead was so dirty and like gritty, and for some reason I couldn't actually clean it up. You know, it was like when I was taking the arpeggiator off, I was taking delays off, I was taking distortion off, and the actual sound itself was losing, you know, the original grit that it had and the original grit that I liked. So in the end, I ended up just leaving the leads for a bit because I knew I wasn't quite happy with them. So and I'll show you what I done eventually. So, do you use dynamic EQ? Yes, I use a lot of dynamic EQ. I don't think I did in this track. But in a lot of tracks I do, yeah. So, do you always start with the drop when producing and start with the kick and bass? A lot of the time I do, yeah. I mean, it's different with every track. For example, yeah, it's different in every track. For example, some tracks I start with chords in the break, you know, it depends on what type of vibe I'm going for, really. So if it's like kind of an emotional progressive, or, you know, more about the synths, I always start in the break with the chords and the cool synths, you know what I mean? But in these type of club tracks or the festival tracks, I always like to start with the energy, you know, the kick, the bass, and get a groove going, really. So yeah, so like once I knew I wasn't happy with the leads in this track, so I just kind of muted them for a bit. So I had the basses, and then I was working on this groove I just found this loop that I loved, so I just panned one hard right, as you can see, and I panned one hard left, and just added a bit of sidechain to these, and this is the result. So as you can hear with the kick, just works. Yeah, so that's super simple. I mean, the processing on it, yeah, you can see I've done quite a lot of processing. That's just me, you know. I like to experiment. I like to, you know, if I'm using a loop, I really like to try and make it different, you know, make it stand out, make it fat. So, you know, I just go through with some EQ. Here I'm just cutting off the lows, anything below 70 with the perks I like to just get rid of, you know. Envelope. I like to sometimes kill the room, so I'm taking away the reverb. I mean, I mess around with the gain and the release always on these. Just drums in general, you know, transients and stuff like that. It's cool sometimes just to play around with them. As you can see, I've just got a bit of compression on that, just really, you know, gluing it together. More EQ. In this case, there was just a bit of dirt in the mids, 340, 350 range. You know, there's always some muddy frequencies in them range. And yeah. So, I mean, that's with them. It's just simple EQ, you know. Like here, taking a bit of the highs because I felt there was too much noise in the loop. Then some saturation on drums. You can't go wrong. Let me move this over. So that's just the FF Saturn, you know, one of my favourite saturation plugins. I'm gonna just remember to move all these over just so you can see in case the camera's in the way. But yeah, these are just simple on the loop, you know. Then I've got like a nice little Logic Overdrive which I use all the time. When you're cycling through kicks, what are you listening for specifically? To be honest, with kicks, over the years of producing, you just come to know, you know, like I know if I'm making a club track, what house kick or what club kick I want to use, and like it's all about the feel for me. So, for example, if you're working on a track, sometimes, you know, you get lost in, oh, does it sound good? Does it sound like, you know, you're trying to listen to other people's tracks and you're like, you know, you get sidetracked by a lot of these other tracks that you're listening to, so you're trying to copy people's kicks and stuff like that. And in the end, I realized that the most important thing to do is just to use your ears. In the end, you know, sometimes if you've done a track and you're not happy with the track, or you think the kick can be better, sometimes the best thing to do, and like this is why sometimes my projects are so messy, because I do it so often, is like, say I'm happy with a track, I'll bounce it without a kick even sometimes, and I'll just go into a new Logic project with just the MP3, and then I'll just start playing around with some new kicks, you know, just on Kontakt, and I just flick through kicks. That's why I use Kontakt the way I do, like, so I can literally just go to Kontakt here, you know, find the nice sample pack that I know, like, you know, for example, this one that I used, and I can just literally click, as soon as you go to Wave Editor, you can just click next on the kicks. So like next, you know, like this. And I just feel like for me that just works so well. Like in terms of kicks, I flick through and I just hear the one that I want, and I'm like, that's the kick. So in this case, it was this kick that made the cut. So yeah, as I can see, you guys can see that. Yeah, Logic's Overdrive, man, I love it. I use it on everything. Like any project I have, if you look, I'm using a Logic Overdrive. So anyway, back to the loop that we were using. This cool loop. So then there's just a Perk side chain. I make a super small side chain just so it ducks under the kick. You know, don't want them clashing. Then I've just got some filtering, which I use for all tracks. A lot of automation in my tracks, as you can see. It's probably why the CPU is so bad, because I like to do a lot of automation. So yeah, so we've got kick, bass, groove that we've got now, and yeah, I just go through adding, you know, little bits of detail that I feel is missing. So in this case now, I was happy with the groove we had, but I needed some perks, you know, to stand out and give it a bit of energy. So these are just perks that really, you know, bring out that lead that I still wasn't quite happy with. So let's see where this is going. So as you can hear, no, it's really driving. Yeah, so this is just a Congo perk on its own. Nothing special going on here, guys. It's literally just EQ, sidechain, center reverb bus, and then we've got this one. Once again, nothing there. Literally just a bit of EQ, taking out some mids. Then on this one, this is quite a cool loop that I found. I wanted to process it, so I just cut some of the highs off. Cut some of the highs, take some of the lows. I'm just reading, sorry, some of the questions now, so while we're going through. Do you do much? Much? Yeah, to be honest, I like to group a lot of channels, like, you know, but only similar sounds. So I never group, like, you know, I don't know, like a lead and a bass together. I'd never do that. I kind of like to find, you know, groups that sit well together, groups that can be stems together, and you'll see why now. Like, I'm going to cut to it because obviously I've got another 20 minutes, about another 25 minutes or so to go through this project. So like, I want to show you my process of when I get an idea and I'm happy with it, what I go to next. So for example, let me just, so yeah, I like to group a lot of similar things. So similar perks, similar groove. I can group them up and I can compress them and EQ them together, you know, really mold them how I want them. So yeah, let's just go through this loop, you know, just adding a bit of vintage exciter. And I'm sorry about the CPU on this project. I'm gonna get to the new one in a sec. Yeah, just a bit of EQ, you know, just a bit of EQ on these. Let me move this over so you guys can see. Yeah. Overdrive, once again, Logic's overdrive, and on any perks it works. At Dream, any stuff like that, any drums, and just some more EQ, you know, just getting rid of them nasty frequencies. As you can see there, I like to analyze some stuff. Yeah, so we've got, you know, the groove, we've got the bass, stuff like that. Then we've got some more synths. So I like to use Prophet a lot on synths. Just sounds so cool. And as you can see, once again, as you can see, the automation on this, you know, I'm opening cutoffs, resonance, gain, and free filtering. I love to use Logic's own EQ just for simple filters, you know, like at the end of a bar where you need some of the lows to be coming out. So like, for example, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you, so you guys get the idea. Like in this project, you know, I've started with the kick, bass, got a cool lead. The rest is just literally drums, like for example hi-hats and stuff. So what I'm gonna do now is I basically got this demo ready. Yeah, I got this demo ready. As you can see, this is what it was. I sent it over to Protocol Records. So as you can see, one of the questions as well I've got is, can you go into how you went on about signing to so many top tier labels in the genre? So yeah, I was just making, for example, demos like this. As you can see, I've gone through some of the key aspects, and I send it out to labels as a demo, and then you get feedback. So I sent this one to Protocol Records, and they got back to me saying they were interested, they wanted a few changes. So I really knew that I had to fix that lead problem, yeah. So what I do is I like to bounce stems, and so in this case I bounce stems, and I add kick, bass, leads, you know, perks, what are the basic things that I've just shown you guys in this project. And yeah, so I got feedback from Protocol, they're interested in signing the track. So, you know, amazing news. So I was like, right, I need to sort this. So what I like to do a lot, and this is just my process, I don't know whether it can help you guys or whether some people think it's wrong or right or whatever, you know what I mean? I just like to do it. So we started this new project. I was on search for a vocal. I knew the track needed a vocal. And so as you can see, this is stems, the kick, the sub, the bass, all the stuff that I've just shown you. the perks, the groove, and then now I started fresh completely on the leads just because I wanted to get them right, you know. So as you can see, I'll go through these now, but yeah, so you can see the track. This is what I basically do. So another question is, what was a lot of the feedback they give you in the beginning when your tracks got turned down a lot more? To be honest, the feedback that I used to get from record labels would be, you know, mix down, what else? Like, you know, just basic things like mix down, ideas, creativeness, like how creative is the track? Because I know, like, these days a lot of people just like to copy, you know, what's hot. So like everyone's copying so and so, everyone's copying, you know, everyone just copies people. So I think trying to be unique, trying new sounds, trying, you know, different mixing techniques, trying to get, like, for me, engineering and mixing the track and, like, you know, producing and getting sounds that not many people have, that's what I try and do, you know. So what are your settings you're using while bouncing stems? I just, to be honest, man, when I'm ready, you know, sometimes I finish tracks whole in the box, like, you know, I start it and I finish it in one project, or sometimes I can have 6 different projects with stems and stuff. I just like to do it. In this case, as you see in the synths and everything was crashing every 2 minutes, and it was just, the project was so, you know, messed up. I needed like a fresh start type thing. So I knew I was happy with all the kicks and the basses and stuff. So I just basically started a new project, bounced the stems, 24-bit, WAV, you know, start to finish. And then now I just basically see this as another opportunity to mix and get it clean, and then start the fresh layer on, you know, what I feel it's missing. So in this case, we've got what I've shown you guys before, but I just cleaned it up. Kick, sub. Obviously I've processed it a bit more here. So on the kick, I've added a Logic's Overdrive, and then on the sub, I've just used a bit, you know, there's this cool plugin here, BBE Match Bass. It's like a bass harmonic distortion, maybe, I don't know. It's got, like, you know, a response, match bass, boost. It's just perfect, man, for what I was trying to do. Then I've got just a bit of frequencies ducking in the sub bass, and now once I've done that, man, it's just so clean, you know. I also love to use on a kick and a bass bus, I love to use the SSL compressors, man, from UAD. Just so cool. Just glues it together, like, so cool. Are your sounds different from others when with the analog emulation synths you use, or are they just a technique that helps you stand out as well? Well, yeah, I mean, I like to do some, like, I think it's actually here. You know, I like to try, where is it? I don't know, on this one I haven't used it. To be honest, like, I just like to, when it comes to sounds and synths, I like to experiment, you know. Like, I don't really try and copy or emulate certain synths, or, like, you know, use I like to use Arturia just because some of the sounds in that are crazy. But for example, Sylenth, man, this is what I used in this lead, and this is what I was getting to. You know, I wasn't happy with the leads in that the old project, so when I bounced stems, I literally just took the MIDI and I started fresh. So I'll just go through the layers now on the synths just so you guys can see. So it's nothing crazy, the MIDI pattern. It's got a cool little swing on it, like the bass. It's just playing. So, like, I'll just show you guys the processing and what it sounds like without any processing. So this is just the synth on its own. And then you can see I'll go through what I added. I just took the low end out. Any lead, any synth that I use, I always take the low end out. Just gets rid of that rumble. I give it some boosts up top, just to give it some high end. Then this Maserati synth from Waves is just amazing distortion synth. I mean, distortion plugin, it's just crazy. You know, so in this case, I just flicked through a few presets, tweaked them a bit. And then, yeah, the rest is just EQ. You know, I love to shape sounds. They're so important. Question here is, what are you using for sidechain? Sidechain, I just like to use the LFO tool a lot of the time. I'll get to that in a sec when I go down here, but yeah, so it's just all about shaping the synth. As you can see, I wanted a bit of mids. And then another cool thing as well that I've been doing a lot in my productions is this can help you really get the power in synths. So I check the correlation, which can help with phase issues. You know, if your leads are phasing, or you've got some phasing issues, or the synths aren't powerful enough, when you can boost some mids. And I in synths now, I like to boost the mid frequencies, which is if you go to channel mode, change it to mid side on especially in the FF Pro, and then you can boost the mid frequencies. You get, so like when you boost here, you'll see the correlation goes up. You know, if you boost in the middle, sometimes you can just get some synths just change the complete dynamics, the complete sound when you're boosting them frequencies. It's crazy. So yeah, then I just add, you know, simple reverbs, Echo Boy for some delay. You know, Tom Starr, I've seen he used that in one of his tutorials, and ever since I've been using it. It's crazy. And then yeah, for sidechain, I just use LFO tools. Sometimes I use Logic Compressor. Yeah, I know a lot of guys do that, and that you can get some great results by doing so. But yeah, sometimes I just use the LFO tool. Just keep it simple, man. Just, you know, ducking that first kick, and just some more, taking some lows out, boosting a bit of the highs, and then yeah, just adding this. So my buses as well, I like to send a lot of the same sounds to buses. In this case, I sent it to a reverb, just the Lex Hall. Then I sidechain the reverb as well, just a little sidechain, and I just cut some of the lows out the reverb as well, just to keep that low end clean. Then I've just got a compressor, just an aggressive. It's kind of acting like a parallel compression on the bus. And then this is on another bus. I've also got a distortion, so as you can't hear when it's not played, but it's just another Maserati, some EQ, just boosting some of them top frequencies, just giving it that energy. And yeah, so that's the first sound. How much are you sending tracks to How much am I sending tracks to DJs? First letting the labels get those tracks over to them. To be honest, I normally keep my tracks just going to to the labels. Obviously, when you sign a track, it's good to promote it and send it out to DJs. I normally do it that way, unless it's, you know, friends. Then I want to send some tracks out so they can try them in their sets, etc. But yeah, normally I wait, sign the track, and then I'll send it out just before promo. I'll send it to all the, you know, close guys who I wanted to play it. So yeah. So yeah, there's the first layer in the lead. Then the second layer is just, you know, it's a cool. Like I told you, I just flick through, check some synths out, tweak them. You know, that's so subtle. It's not really doing anything, but it's just there. And when you take it out, you lose energy. You know, so that's when you know. That's when you know something's a good layer. So yeah, here's another layer. And like I was telling you before, like I was telling you before, I just go through Kontakt, I find some sample packs, I flick through the sounds and just layer them like, you know, like this. And then when I just hear the right layers, I glue them together. So yeah, this is another layer. And then together these synths. So yeah, once I'm happy with the synths, the leads, I like to glue them together, you know, with the glue, one of the best compressors I use. Yeah, just glue the leads together. I never normally like to go over the 5. Never normally like to go over the 5. Just keep it there. You know, just a nice little bit of compression. Then we just got a nice little boost at 1000 hertz, taking out some of the lows. That EQ's not doing anything. Then I've got this cool bus that I used to like to use on some leads, just to give it some width. Seen Shapov use this on one of his tutorials, and yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So and then I just take out the 400 frequency on just on the bus, gives it some width without it. Yeah, crazy plugin, man. I love it. So yeah, and then the rest is just literally, you know, effects. I'm just using some sweeps, you know, nothing crazy. Just some fills, effects, you know, the typical stuff. So that's it. And then obviously I got the vocal for this track. I got the vocal from Spider. Really cool MC, really cool. And he sent me this vocal through, and I chopped it, played around with it. So yeah, I'm just gonna take you guys quickly through how I process the vocal. So these are just cool reverb shots, you know. I like to sometimes reverse vocals, you know, so in this case I just added a big reverb onto this vocal, bounced it in place, reversed the reverb. I'm sure I would go into time detail showing you guys, but I'm pretty sure any YouTube will show you how to do it if you want to know how to reverse a vocal reverb. Yeah, so in this case I use the Alter Boy from Soundtoys. If any of you guys don't have the Soundtoys bundle, I do highly suggest you get it, because it's amazing. It is really, really, really sick. So yeah, this just gives it some formant without it. Just adds a bit of then I've got a de-esser on the vocal, just getting rid of them sharp S's. Oh yeah, I need to remember to bring these over, don't I? Yeah, so this is the Alter Boy setting that I used. I just took a bit of formant down there, a bit of drive, kept the mix up wet. The de-esser, nothing crazy there. As you can see, I've got some stuff muted here that I didn't use. Once again, just getting rid of some of these sharp frequencies. You know what I mean? Just chopping them out. Do you ever get any mixing issues with having a subby kick and such short sidechain curve like you have with the LFO tool? Okay, yeah, so that's a good question. When I'm using, for example, in the kicks and the sub, I should have explained that better. On the LFO tool, On the synths, I'm only using a short sidechain on synths, you know, leads, any stuff like that. When it comes to sub basses, I always use, you know, a much bigger one. So for in this example, this is just the sub audio that I've bounced as a stem, so it's already got some sidechain on it. But as again, I have added more sidechain just to, you know, really get that half sub kick combination. You know, when the kick hits, the sub shouldn't. When the sub hits, the kick shouldn't. You know, so you get that offbeat, you know, proper. So that's what I've done in that case. I do that on all basses really, and even I think here, yeah. So on the mid bass as well, there's the sub bass kickstart from Nicky Romero, the sub bass preset, and the mix is just down a bit. You know, it's only on leads that I like that short side chain. So in this case, once again, like I told you as well, I like to use the LFO tool. I like to use the Nicky Romero kickstart. I like to use compression. It all depends on the sound, you know. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve and what side chain to use. So sometimes just switch it up and try something new, try a new plugin, you know what I mean? There's only one way to find out how it's going to sound. Yeah, so in the first project that I used, I think it was LFO tool, or it might have even been a compressor, to be honest, sent to the kick. But then I just felt that it needed more ducking, you know, it was clashing with the kick. So I just go, as I'm going along, I just add, I take it off, I see what it sounds like with it, see what it sounds like without it, you know what I mean? Yeah, so most of, like, for example, where were we up to? I'm just up to the vocal. Yeah, so in this case, the vocal, nothing crazy, just a lot of EQ. You know, I'm going to take these over, just getting rid of some of the lows, because it's like, you know, a rap vocal type thing. So it's got a lot of lows in the recording. Yeah, so I mean, we've got a few more minutes left on this track. So if you guys have got any questions, I'll just show you the final product of like the the breakdown here. You know, and just the last drop. There's nothing crazy that changes, just a bit more energy, as you can see down here. We've just got some rides, you know, just adding a bit of extra energy into the last drop. Okay, so another question there from Vin Smith. Do you ever bounce sounds down and do a manual fade for sidechain? Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do that. It all depends, you know, how well the track sounds without that. Sometimes my usual would be LFO tool or compressor or kickstart. So yeah, as you can see, just some more energy, you know, underneath. That's all. But yeah, man, like when I bounce them down into stems, I just think for me it just helps, you know, because it's kind of like you know, simplifying the project, giving you a fresh start, and yeah, like it just makes it easy for me to mix it as well. I like it, you know, I like starting fresh, adding a lead, then the track's done and it's simple. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm just trying to show you guys some of the process and on the synth. So for example, a good thing on the mid bass in this track, I use this plugin Fuzz Plus free by Audio Damage. I'm pretty sure that this is a free synth, a free plugin as well. I'm pretty sure it is, and it's amazing, man. Distortion. So you can't really hear much there what it's doing because it's on the bass, but without it, it's crazy the difference. But yeah, it's a really good plugin, so you should check that out as well for basses and distortion and stuff. Yeah, on the groove, I felt that the groove wasn't coming through strong enough, so I added a V compressor from Waves. Just gives it a bit of, you know, just fattens it up a bit with. can you show off your collab alive? Yeah, I can try and do that at the end if I get some time. I'm gonna head over to the light project now. If you guys have got any more questions about this, let me know. I'll just do a quick on master chains as well. This is a really cool plugin that I've started using lately. Tonal balance control from iZotope, I think it is. Yeah, iZotope. It's in the bundle. You guys should check this out. I love it, man. So you can even go create targets from audio files. So if you have a track that's similar to yours or similar mix that you're trying to achieve, you know, you can put it on, and I don't know what it does, man, but it's just it's crazy. Just try it out. It kind of just molds the track, shapes it. It's crazy. I love it. But yeah, you should check that out, man. And as you can see, there's nothing crazy on the master here, guys. This was just like a pre-master before I just boosted it, you know. Yeah, so anyway, let's jump over to the light, the other track I'm going to be showing you guys today. Like I said, all this stuff in this project is literally just EQ, as long as with these new leads that I finally got and I finally was happy with. So yeah, just quickly I'm going to go into the build just before we move on. Builds, I always like to keep them very simple, just very simple, you know. Most of the time it's a good build for me would be using reverb. You know, that's how I get the effect of something.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Something opening up and something building, I like to reverb it out up, like open a reverb. So for example, in this case, I think yeah, there's a reverb on the lead, I think it is. Yeah, so there's a reverb here which is just automated if you check it out. So see, this is and what you're doing is you open it up, so the reverb, it's getting wetter and wetter, and then in the drop you shut it down, close it, and that's how you get that huge effect, you know, of something opening up. I use a lot of automation in builds as well, as you can see here. Volume automation, filter automation. So it's all about, you know, creating the atmosphere. So filter your synths out, bring them up with effects. So for example, just some simple effects here that I add. Just a riser. And then I layer them. You know, you can layer them as much as you want, as long as you don't overdo it. Just literally a good riser effect. And then you can obviously add some little flavour, little detail in here, like for example this stuff. Then I've obviously got a snare build. That's it really, snare build. Nothing crazy, nothing, you know, nothing outside the box really. Just a simple build, builds right up. Another good thing you can do as well is doing all the reverb stuff and the builds on your synths. You can also do it on your master, which I always do. I do it on every track. So as you can see here, and watch, the mix will shut down on the drop. So watch, yeah, there. Yeah, and I do that all the time, man. I do that all the time. So yeah, the build's pretty simple. Just some effects, reverbing up, using filters, so high pass, low pass, as you're going up to the drops. And yeah, let me head over to the other project now anyway. Let me know if you guys got any questions as well. Quick, nothing scares me anymore. Sneak peek at the end, please. Alright, I've got you guys. I'll try and go into some stuff. Just bear with me a second. Right, here we go. So this is the light. This is my single on Third Party's Release Deep label with Sean on the vocals. So yeah, let me dig into it. Let me know if there's anything in particular, you know, you guys want me to go to, or you want me to show you guys. Just drop me a comment, and I'm checking all the comments. So how long in hours does it take you to finish a track on average? That's a good question, man. That's a good question. You know, it's different all the time. For example, one track can take me 24 hours, 10 hours. Another track can take me 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months, a month. This track was one of them which just took so long, man. We'd done about 6 recording vocal sessions, you know, and we just couldn't get it, and then we had to go back and do it again and stuff. But we got there in the end, and that's the cool thing. So yeah, right, I'll dig right in. So I've just seen another question there. Do you work on multiple tracks, or do you try and finish one before starting the next? I am the worst person for starting too many ideas and too many tracks. I work on so many at the same time, and that's probably why it takes me a while to finish each one. But then when I'm done, I've got like 7 tracks finished, you know, at the same time. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I've always been that way. I just work on. I start ideas, you know, fresh little twinges of inspiration here and there. I just start an idea, and like then when I'm ready to finish the track, I go through. Or if I've got producer's block, I'll go back to some ideas that I've had in the past that I know I like, and yeah, that's just the way I've always done it. So yeah. Let's dig into this track. So for this one, I think the main idea that I come up with straight away was just this melody, this simple pluck. And once again, I'm just opening reverb on this. You can see the Valhalla. Just opening this mix right into the drop, you know, getting that atmosphere. You can see it here. Mix all the and then it's going to shut now on the drop. That's just tune free. Nothing crazy there, just the sound that I liked. The processing on it's nothing crazy, just simple EQ, you know, taking out the lows, taking out the lows. I've got a bit of a vintage presence from the Ozone 9 bundle, which is also a really good bundle you should check out if you're into producing, definitely. I've got this cool synth, this cool plugin as well that I like to use, Retro Color, RC20 Retro Color. It's super cool, man. If you're trying to make some vintage sounds, make something sound old, you know, give it that vinyl crackle, then that's a good plugin to use. Another question here, do you use any analog sound? Yeah, I've got a few analog synths. I've got a Korg MS-20, I've got TB-303. I've got a Virus. I do use them, yeah. I use them in certain sounds. Like I think in this one I used the MS-20 for a sub or a bass, and I just bounced it in audio. So as you can see, Echo Boy once again for the Echo. I just flick through some presets sometimes, or just, you know, just mess around and try and come up with my own. I think in this case I was just using this for some, so I was just using that on the build. As you can see, the mix. So it's similar to what I do on the builds with reverb, but I'm just using an echo in this case just to get that weird trippy effect. Yeah, so that was how it started with this cool sound. Then I found a kick. And like the way I found this kick was the way I find all the kicks, you know, like I was saying before. I go to contact and I just flick through kicks until I find one that I like. So which in this case was 7 in this sample pack, Techno Kicks. Yeah, and then obviously once I've got that groove, I know that I need to get the sub bass going, so I just started, which is just at the start of the track, it's just, you know, one key, one melody, one flat note. And I used the Oberheim from Arturia for this. It's the meaty sub bass preset. Simple EQ, just taking out some highs. And yeah, the track's already alive to me, you know, that's the start, So then this case I added this cool weird ARP thing that just, I don't know, it just added a bit of groove to the low end. It doesn't really stand out, it just adds a bit of energy. Then obviously we've got the mid basses. This is where I start to layer that bass up a bit. What's the volume of the kick and the volume for the sub you always try to go for? I mean, I never stick to, you know, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. I know a lot of people advise that, you know, your kick's at -6 and your sub bass is at -12. And I tend to stick around that, but I never, you know, if something sounds wrong, I fix it, I make it how I want it, I make it to the volume I want it, do you know what I mean? I never really just say, oh, it's got to be 6 and -12, you know, I just use my ears, man. Use your ears, that's the best advice you can have, you know. So yeah, in this case, just the bass layers, once again they're flat notes. And the cool thing about this track is once the track progresses, it goes melodic, so in this case the bass here, even the sub bass changes. Which I'll show you the MIDI to. So yeah, in this, it's just a simple bass layer. Then I've got a bass from Bodson. I'm sure you guys know Bodson, the genius on the Moog. So I tried to make a preset like his, tried to make a sound like his, which on its own just sounds like this. So like I'll show you guys, there's a lot of automation going on this, you know, all them filters where it's opening up and stuff. Like, yeah, so in this case, it's, you know, the processing once again. It's pretty similar to every single one. It's an overdrive just to get a bit of power, you know. I kind of use the overdrive as like a compressor. Just took a bit of highs off, took a bit of lows away. Then I added this cool tremolo on it, giving it a bit of phase, so it's panning a bit as well, which is cool. Panning from speaker to speaker, and a bit of reverb. Then I used a tape delay for this one. It's a cool setting I found from Left Wing and Cody, it's from House Duo, really cool. And then just a kickstart, you know, sub bass, because it's quite a powerful bass, that one. So I wanted it to really duck behind the kick. So let's see what some of the questions are. Do you recommend the Yamaha HS80 that you had for producing that. Yeah, 100%, man. I love the Yamaha HS8s. Unfortunately for my new studio, they're a bit too big, so I'm gonna have to downgrade the size. But yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me show you guys that kickstart again, just because I keep forgetting it's behind the cam. So yeah, that's just a sub bass side chain with the full mix, because I really wanted that, you know, pump. So that's on that bit, the mid bass. So yeah, that's just a layer along with this bass and of course the sub bass. So then yeah, once we've got that, so up to now we've got this, you know, the simple. Pretty simple, you know, nice. Then let's see what else. So then we've got this other cool, you know, bass sound, but it's really short notes, and I just felt that added something to the groove, as you can hear when I bring the kick in. Yeah, so basically that they're just basses, you know, we've got the basses down, and then I wanted to add a bit of groove. Some atmosphere. So once again on the oh, this is another cool little thing as well that I should bring up. So I like to use this click, X click from Waves. If you guys have ever got like samples or, you know, loops that have got clicks in them and you don't like them, this plugin is just perfect for that stuff, man. Like so like if I show you, this is before without the click. Can you hear that on top of the, and when you bring this on, it just goes without, with, just rounds it off so much. Yeah, so like you said, the low ARP you have for the groove, it's just like flavor. That's what I mean, man. Sometimes these sounds, you know, I show people, like, people will be like, oh, how did you do this sound? How did you make this? You know, and when you show them, they're like, what? Like, it's like, it does, you know, like, it's just the small things, you know, just the little ear candy that really makes the difference, you know. So yeah, that's just a perk with some reverb, you know. Once again, it's on a reverb bus. That's just on a bus, yeah. So then we've got this. I don't want to, you know, spend too much time on the simple stuff, like when it comes to the groove and stuff, because these are just chopped samples, you know, chopped loops, just taking the bits that I like. Then we've got a cool African loop, which once again, these are just sent to a bus, processed on the bus, you know. Obviously, because they're toms, I wanted to use a tom setting, and I of course I tweak all this, you know. Then I've got some compression that I like to use on some sims. As you can see, it's hardly doing anything, but it just done what I needed it to do. It just kept them drums, you know. Then we've got some once again acoustic drum temper, saturation on them perks. So yeah, that's it. So far I'll play what we've been through so far, just so you guys can hear it, keep up. So yeah, this is what. Not that we haven't got to the lead yet. So far we've got this, guys. Yeah. Then we just added atmosphere, just a loop, an atmosphere loop, and that's another atmosphere loop. So that's just giving nice atmosphere now. Yeah. So that's the base. That's the basic idea. That's the start. So then we move on to the drums, and in the drum chain we've got. So I like to group all these, you know. We've obviously got a clap. In this case, it's a very woody clap. No, just small, simple claps. Nothing crazy there. Just some processing, some EQ. Then we dive into the hi-hats. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing crazy. Are all those little perks and melodic things, are they sidechained the same, or some things? Yeah, so in the perks that we just went through here, so as you can see, there's like 2 of them that are sidechained. Once again, that's just by ear. So for this, because it had a long reverb on this one, I wanted to make sure the reverb was ducking at the kick. And then this one was it's just a short and stabby sound, so I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, you know, as you can see, this is a very, very short sidechain. I just wanted to make sure the kick was clear. On that tom, I can see myself, the audio isn't going over the kick, so it didn't really need you didn't need any sidechain in that case. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a sample pack, by the way, guys. I just seen a comment there saying you should do a sample pack, don't you worry. Oh yeah, sorry, let me bring the LFO tool out. I'm new to this streaming life, guys, so I keep forgetting that my picture, you know, covers it all. So that's just the perk side chain that I use. It's just a small side chain for like sharp sounds that you just want to duck behind the kick. And then this was just the standard short side chain that I use on pretty much most leads. That was just on that kick, that perk, sorry. Yeah, so we've done the claps, been through the claps. Then it's just the hi-hats, you know. And I'll just tell you how I go about finding hi-hats. For example, I do exactly the same as I do with kicks. So I'll just show you straight away how I do it now. So say I want to find some hi-hats for this track, yeah, I'll mute these ones up to now, just so we've got none. Or we've got some somewhere, yeah, down here, right, let me mute these. Yeah, so then I'll start a new complete sample. So I go to Kontakt. You can use your sampler, whatever sampler you use. I just use Kontakt, that's just the one that I like. So yeah, so once you've got your sampler open that you like, for example, I'm going to go to top loops, or you can go to hi-hats and you can pin it in yourself, you know, on the off. But in this case, I'm just going to go to these loops. I don't know what loops these are, but I'm just going to show you what I mean, what I do. So yeah, there's a little wave editor here. If you click wave editor, go down to sync and slice on Kontakt, use Time Machine Pro. You can go off that, you can create a nice little MIDI track here. Create note. Yeah, okay, right. So then now we've got our little loop, and I can just play this and it's going to play that loop over the top. And I can just go through, I can just flick through. See, I like them hi-hats, so what I can do now is I can just solo that, and then just simple as bounce in place, and there we have it. There's the hi-hats. That's just how I like to do it, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's just my way, guys, of finding like my samples. That's my way of searching through sounds to find the ones that I like. Yeah, so I done that with all these hi-hats. So I flicked through, found that one, found the quick hat, which is like a shaker. I added a sidechain on that. Did I done something to it. I don't know what that is. But yeah, and then I sent it, see here, isolate highs. I just made this cool sidechain where without it, listen, with it. so it's sent to the kick on the hi-hats. I don't know why I do that. Sometimes I just experiment with sounds like I was saying before. Quick ride, quick hats, just taking out the lows in all these hats. And another cool thing I like to do as well with all my hats, I like to sorry, let me just go back into this actually and show you guys again. Move this over. So this is the side chain compression that I used on these hats. That's without, that's with. Just gives it a bit of groove, you know. Yeah, and then I send all of my hats, all of my drums, all of the small, you know, sounds, I send them to this cool, one sec, where is it? This bus, this reverb bus, drum verb, and it's just a small reverb, realistic room. It's in the small spaces, room, realistic room, and I just use that for hi-hats, you know, toms, claps, just so yeah. Let's move on to so like as you can see here, most of these stuffs are just these are just more rides, more hats, you know, top, just some house loops, just a 909 here as well. So yeah, so now I'm just going to dig into the leads in this track, and I'll go through some of the break quick as well. So yeah, so this track, I had what I've just basically broke down to you guys. I had this, so this is all I had, and I knew it was missing a top melody, a top lead, so this is what I had. This was the instrumental that I had, the demo. So that's a cool question as well. I'm just going to stop there. How do you know when you have enough cymbals and don't overdo it? So you always need to be careful, because, you know, you can get lost just layering cymbal after cymbal, ride, hi-hat, and it's just, you know, you've got to use your ears, and, you know, if something's not adding to the mix, or something's not adding to the track or the energy, or, you know, if it's just sound on sound, it's just not right. I only ever add something, or add a sound, add a hi-hat, add a loop, add a drum, if it's bringing something to the track, if it's bringing it alive, you know, giving it some groove, giving it some energy. It's got to have its own position in the mix, you know. Sometimes just panning them, mixing them, taking some lows, taking some highs, you know, you've got to make sure that it suits the track. Don't just go throwing in loop after loop, because it never works, you know. So yeah, so we had this track, I knew it needed a lead to it, something special. It's got the groove, it's got the energy, it's got that power, you know, from a track, but it was just missing that euphoric movement, should you say. So yeah, what I decided to add was this cool lead, which I think is like the icing on the cake to this track, to be honest. So it's with the Prophet from Arturia, and it goes. And as you can see, the cut off automation, I'm playing around with it. If I open the automation on the actual so yeah, like you can see here, it's just a high cut, so that's why it filters in nice and smooth. I like to do that a lot on synths. Someone said, are you panning out left and right with your hats? I mean, not all the time. Let me just go through this lead, and I'll quickly jump back to that. But yeah, this lead, you know, on most leads, rather than just bringing it in strict, I like to sometimes high cut it in, you know, bring it in. It's just a nice way to introduce a new sound in the track. So then we cut to when it actually comes in properly. So yeah, this synth, really cool, you know, just a few tweaks. I was flicking through presets, come across this cool synth, started playing around with it, and I really got it, you know, the melody, the way the melody and the LFO in the synth was just perfect. It just dipped in time. Yeah, so once again, the processing on this, nothing crazy. It's got some vibrato on it, it's got, you know, a bit of movement, and I just felt it was super cool, you know, especially when you play around with the cutoff and the resonance and stuff. It's crazy. So yeah, just boosted a bit of the highs. Once again, taking the lows out. Like with any synth, I always take the lows out. Quick side chain. See, once again, I'm switching it up here. I'm not sticking to LFO Tool, not sticking to Silent Logic's compressor. I'm just switching it up, man. I love the Nicky Romero kickstart synth. I love the LFO Tool. I love the compressor, you know. I just go through phases sometimes of liking one or preferring one, you know. I switch back and forth through them all. So this case we're using a quick chain because I wanted it nice and short. This is a Valhalla reverb, but it's only for the automation, like I was telling you before. Just before drops or in the breaks, I open the automation on the synth. And that's just to get some atmosphere. I'm shutting as you can see here, I'm shutting the high, the EQ, the high cut, and I'm opening the reverb. It just adds a bit of energy, you know, in the break, a bit of atmosphere. So yeah, we haven't really got into breaks much. We haven't gone into breaks much in this, so I'm just going to go into the break and how I do my breakdowns, just cover that quickly. We've got 15 minutes left, so I'm just going to talk about that. So yeah, in a break, I feel like it's important, you know, to have atmosphere. You know, a breakdown is where it should be slightly emotional maybe, or some switch up in the track. So I like to use impacts, effects, just to create an atmosphere. So as you can see, I'm using an impact, Vengeance impact. I'm using downlifters from Vengeance once again. So as you can see, I'll just solo these effects just so you can hear what it's like on their own. Maybe you can, you know, bring them into your tracks, a similar style of effect. So you know, that it just gives such an impact straight away. So someone said, what's the most common issue you hear in newer producers' demos? The problem I hear in a lot of people's demos are, you know, so for example, one lately that I've heard is, you know, everyone's heard David Guetta and Morton's new style, Future Rave. So the problem,
make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
the problem is you get like a million demos of people just trying to copy that stuff. And then, you know, it's just people trying to copy popular music at the moment and trying to jump on the next wave, if you call it. I feel like a producer who stands out to me is someone who really, you know, sticks to this, not even sticks to their sound, you know, creates something fresh, something unexpected and outside the box, and like straight away they get your attention, you know what I mean? Something gets your attention, whereas if it just sounds the same as all the other stuff out there, it gets lost, man. It gets lost. It comes out and it's forgotten about, you know what I mean? So I think being unique is definitely a strong point. So yeah, we go into the break here, and as you can see, I've got some effects, and I feel like if you listen to like this effect in particular, they just add some like atmosphere to the track. So like this is. So then we've got a pad. This pad's from Sylenth, nothing crazy. I'm just going to mute this, solo this, sorry. Playing simple chords, you know, nothing crazy. Automation again, just on the cut-off. So as you see here, the cut-off. And then I've just literally layered that pad with some strings, just Logic's own string ensemble. Super quiet. I'm just using a retro equalizer here, some Space Designer, some reverb, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the break. The rest was obviously we got the vocal down. We recorded that ourselves, you know, ad-libs, the main vocal. Oh yeah, so that's a good question. Somebody's just asked what's the different colours of the notes mean. So in Logic this means velocity. So for example, a lot of the time you'll see some of my velocities are different, and that's just because I feel like you can create a more natural sound. So like if every note is the same, it's just going to sound dead stiff, and you know, it's going to sound like it's coming from a computer, whereas if you play it with a bit of, you know, less velocity, so all you have to do in this case is select the note, and you can just go to velocity here and just drop the velocity. So like you see there, 860, and it just literally it makes it more natural sounding to me, you know, like as if somebody's playing the keys. You can kind of like, you know, emphasize certain keys, certain emotions and stuff. I just like to play around with them sometimes, experiment, you know, try different velocities. It works for me. So yeah, that's how I done the break, guys. Dead simple. We've got the vocal, like I shown you then. The vocal, nothing crazy going on processing, you know. I like to use Waves CLA, really good compressor for vocals. Some simple EQ, nothing crazy there. Yeah, so in this track the break was created before the vocalist come in. We had the session together. We sat down. He got writing. We got the break idea recorded. To be honest, the very first part that we got to the track was actually the drop, the vocal in the drop. So this bit. Yeah, so that was the first session we had, and we were like, wow, this is crazy. We really loved it, and then it took us about maybe a month or two after that just to nail the break and get the vocal for the break, because we just had the first drop basically on loop. That's all we had at first. Could you please go through the vocal chain? Yeah, sure. So basically, as you know, as I've explained, none of my projects are very simple. So what I done in this case was I bounced the instrumental, then we went into a session where I just had the MP3 instrumental or WAV instrumental, and we recorded the vocal over it. We done a few takes, you know, as people will tell you when you're doing vocals, it can be 30 takes, 40 takes, 100 takes, 200 takes. This session was pretty frustrating. We had to do about 3 different studio sessions and about 4 different takes each session. So in the end we narrowed it down to the best takes that we liked. I went through just pitch Obviously Sean's a great singer, sure, like his voice is amazing, but sometimes, you know, you need to go through just tweaking pitch. And in Logic, a cool way to do this is Flex Audio, if I can remember where I've done it. So you have to go through, I think this is how I've done it, if I can remember. Flex pitch. Yeah. So you click flex pitch. So I'm pressing Command and F. That's a shortcut, by the way, to get this tempo pitch change in Logic. Command F. Flex pitch. So then you double click here. Audio track. Sorry, let me just remember. I haven't done this for a while, you see. Yes, I think it's here. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, these notes. So it analyzes the vocal, tells you where the notes are. And you can just go through and you can find pitch, you know, you can correct the audio, you can do it by ear just to get a feel. You can change your vocals into key, out of key. You know, it's just kind of a bit like is it Antares? No, what's the other one? Melodyne. It's a bit like Melodyne. It's Logic's own version kind of thing. So yeah, I'll go through, tweak the vocal, get it sounding how I want it, you know, pitch wise. Then I bring it in. I give it just I got rid of some of the lows in the vocal. Don't need lows in vocals, you know, it just clashes with, it makes it muddy in the low end. So having the right vocal take really is so key. Yeah, it is, man. Having the right vocal is so important. You know what I mean? So yeah, Logic's basically got its Melodyne, yeah, basically built in, exactly, man. I only found this out a few months back, you know. And yeah, I've been using it ever since, man. It's crazy. So yeah, I just boost a bit of the mids, bit of the highs, you know, give it a bit of a dip there. We don't want too sharp, you see. So that's just on the vocal. I'll just play this. I'll go through. So then I just once again DS, get rid of some of them sharp. But tonight. And there's the CLA that I was telling you guys about from Waves. Falling from chorus. To save it. Echo. To the space and time created. So these are just on the vocal. Can you feel the breeze come through the places? And then once again a side chain. As you can see, the mix is down when the drop kicks in, etc. I automate the side chain. Then it's just an EQ there. Nothing crazy. Just some surgical EQs. So yeah, with this vocal, man, it's pretty straightforward, you know, just a bit of compression. It's all about just the mix, how it sits. I've got some ad-libs, just fattening it up. No processing and on them. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I've got someone just quickly asking, can you show the Nothing Scares Me Anymore, or yeah, so full wet chorus, yeah, man. I mean, I think there's actually yeah, man, that was just how I felt, that was the vibe. But yeah, it worked. I'm just gonna see if I can trying to see if I do have I might have the Nothing Scares Me Anymore drop. There's been a few people asking. Okay, I think I've had a few people ask me quickly just to show them this. So before we wrap it up, I'm just gonna try and open the Nothing Scares Me Anymore project, because I think there's about 5 or 6 of you guys who have asked. So let's try and, just before we finish, go quickly through a few of these. Well, it depends how well the project holds up, because this one again is a very big project. So yeah, we'll see. Search Spotlight. Any tips for producers who aspire to get on these amazing labels? Yeah, so tips would be law of attraction. Make a goal. Tell yourself you're going to hit that goal and hit that goal. Do you know what I mean? Get in the studio, work hard, learn stuff you don't know how to do. Make sure you learn how to do it. And then you need to, you know, do it to the best. Do it better than anyone else. You know, perfect your craft. Work on your sound. You know, I think it's very important to know which direction you want to go as an artist. Skip missing. See, I'm missing a few sounds because this is an old project. But yeah, I feel like it's very important to know, you know your brand, know your marketing, know where you sit and where you want to go with your tracks, where you want to go with, you know. I don't know if this project's going to open, guys. I'm sorry, I am going to try it for you, but we'll see. But yeah, for tips, man, it's just work hard, stay humble, you know. Make goals, make plans, and hit them, man. Go for it. Yeah, you know, anything's possible. Any label you want to be on, you can do it. So yeah, let's see quick if this will work. I'll try and... So that's just the side chain kick. There's the actual kick we used. So yeah, so this is the project for Nothing Scares Me Anymore. I mean, obviously we're just getting to the end of the session right now, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot in this project. A lot of layers, as you can see. Add layers. It's not even going to play because it's got that many divas open. But Diva, that's another good synth you guys need to check out. Diva, man, what a synth, what a synth. Is it going to open? I don't think it's going to open. Can you go over the bass line? I can try and do a quick bass line. To be honest, a lot of this is bounced down though, man, because obviously the project's huge, but you know, we've got the kick, which isn't even going to play because it's too much stuff. But then let me see where the bass is. So the stabs, it's not even going to play, man. I'm sorry, it's not going to work, this project. This is what I'm dealing with, man. I'm sorry. If I could play it, I'd show you. Let's see if it works. Nah, it's not going to work, man. I tried. I'm sorry, but yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of layers in this project. Nothing Scares Me Anymore remix, 108 channels. And yeah, it was a bit of a pain to actually finish because every time we were trying to finish the project, the laptop would crash because of all the stuff going on in this project. But yeah, I mean, not much going on in terms of master either, just a lot of EQing. But yeah, I did try and show you the Nothing Scares Me Anymore project, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't do so because my computer is gonna break. But yeah, let me see if I can just go through this intro bit. So there's the kick. I don't even know what kick this is. Simple kick. Then we've got the let me see. So then we've got stabs here. very subtle toms. And that's the main groove to the track. That's just the bass basically. Then there's the sub bass. Sub bass, simple. And yeah, man, that's pretty much the groove. Yeah, man. So looks like we have come to the end of the stream, guys. Obviously I wish I could spend even more time with you guys, but it's 4:30 in the morning right now in the UK, so yeah, I'm very tired, as you can probably tell. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we covered as much as we could in the time, and yeah, it's been fun, and I'm hoping we can do this again sometime. Let me know before I jump off if you've got any questions. I'll stick around for a second. If you've got any questions, I'll try and answer them. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned at least one or two things. You should do more live streams, Corey. I definitely should, man. I definitely should. I know I should. It's been hard this lockdown, man. I've just been locked away making music, not really thinking about the world. But yeah, I've enjoyed it, man. It's been fun. So yeah, let me know if any questions before I go, guys. Any new tracks? Of course, there's new tracks, man. New tracks all the time. I think the next one is January, maybe. But we just done the last track I just released was on Stamped Records, Martin Garrix's label. I released a disco house track called You. A lot of the new music that I'm making is more house music, you know, more back to the original sounds, you know, disco, house, tech house, them types of vibes. I'm just having fun with it, man, and just seeing what's going on. So yeah, we'll see what's coming up in 2021, and hopefully it's better than 2020 anyway. So yeah, I'll work on something, man. I'll work on something like that. But anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure. My first stream. I want to thank the Fire Society for having me as well. It's been super cool, super fun, and yeah, I mean, I've tried to go through 2 projects, you know, in a short amount of time. I hope you learned at least something, and any questions, just, you know, hit me up, tweet me, Instagram, you know, and I'll try and get back to as many people as possible. So thanks, guys. Thanks again. Thanks for tuning in.